Hello, everybody in the world. Welcome back to another episode of the Up Supercast Game Club. It's me, Brandon, your host, and I'm joined today by my good friends Noah.
It's me.
And Will.
All around the world.
You're,
Statues
okay, I was like, you
crumble
gonna
for
keep
me.
going? Okay.
It's just all around the
We're
world.
singing sugar.
I don't want to crumble any statues. They probably have historical significance.
We're throwing
You know?
it back to what the fucking, what was that, 90s, 2000s? I can't remember.
I'm just in that mental space right now for music.
It's some good music. Some good music came out. You know what else came out recently?
Recently, not in the 90s.
Not in the 90s. Only 90s kids will remember that. But we're here for everybody because this is a recent thing. Unless you were born within the last couple days. You were born in time to experience Mario Tennis Aces.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
If you weren't born recently, and you were a baby that can now operate
Yes.
a podcast app,
You're probably the coolest baby. You can tell all the other babies at the daycare that you're the coolest baby that listens to the Up Supercast. And so this week on the Game Club, we played Mario Tennis Aces because it just came out. We were all playing it. So we're just like, hey, that's our next Game Club game. And so this game came out, like I said, June 22nd, 2018. Was it a worldwide release? Did it come out everywhere on the same day? I feel like it did.
to reuse the line, all around the world.
Wow.
Mario Tennis Aces
What a
came out.
segue. It's like you knew.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Tennis Aces, though, is a tennis game, believe it or not.
What?
It was developed by Camelot and published by Nintendo. And it's on the Nintendo Switch. This little system that you might not have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
That's-
Up and comer. Not
Up
quite
and
as
comer.
big as the Ouya, but what is really?
Yes. No, well, you're right. Nothing really. Nothing as big as that. And it's also a portable system too. It's almost as good of a portable as the Atari Lynx, but not quite.
What could be better?
Maybe a Tiger Electronics game, but that might be
you're
the only
right.
competition. So yeah, Mario Tennis Aces. This is like the fourth or fifth Mario Tennis game I think in the series.
Yeah, I think it's fourth. If my numbers work out, not like on console, I guess I should say.
On console, if we're counting console, it might be the sixth if we're counting all of them, including the handheld ones.
Mm-hmm.
But so this is following up on Mario Power Tennis for the Wii U. Was that what it was?
Roller Smash.
No, it was Ultra Smash.
Oh, Power
Yes.
Tennis was the GameCube one, the good
Yes,
one.
that was the good one.
The good one, yes. Ultra Smash on the Wii U. The only Mario Tennis game I never played.
Same.
Because all the gameplay I saw of it and everything I saw about that game, I was like, no. Does not look good. It looks like a step back for the series. And from what I've heard from everybody who's played it, the answer was yes, it was a step back for the series. Luckily, with Mario Tennis Aces, though, I feel like it's a step forward.
Couple of
finally.
steps forward.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I went to New York, I visited the Nintendo World Store, and that was the year where the Wii U was just fully dead, right? Like it was where they had clearly moved on, and like the one in-game demo they had at the Nintendo World Store was Mario Tennis Ultra Smash.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like touching it for about 30 seconds and being like, I'm good. This is all I need. I'm good. Thank you. Let me go do something else instead.
Yeah. I heard the 3DS one also was not very great either.
Yeah. That one, I feel like it just came and went super hard. Like, there are some people I know that are fans of the 3DS Mario Golf, but no one I know that was really screaming from the rooftops about the tennis.
Yeah, 3DS Mario Golf was actually pretty good. Mario Tennis Open, that was the 3DS one.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. But, I mean, especially for the 3DS, right? Because it was such a big step back in terms of the series, especially for the handheld ones. Because I don't know if you know a lot about Camelot, if you're listening, if you don't. They're a little development studio that's basically, they're well known. I guess they're mostly known for making Mario Tennis and Mario Golf. But, outside of that, all they've really made is RPGs. And so they took a little bit of their experience in RPGs, like from Golden Sun and Shining Force, and they used that to make their handheld versions stand out a little bit from their console counterparts, and they were basically played as RPGs, which was a lot of fun. You always played as like basically a an avatar type character. You kind of played as yourself,
Mm-hmm.
like just a normal human looking kid, and
Yes.
you know you were in the world of Mario, but the Mario characters were like world renowned like tennis players or golf players. Like, oh, they're the best in the world.
Yeah.
And
Kids would aspire to be able to face Mario in tennis when they grow
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah.
Like,
so I always thought that was super cool, and it was definitely a step back for the 3DS one to not have anything like that. You know, that's why I was like, no way am I playing that game now, not without that. But so with this game, they brought into a story mode. It's not necessarily the same as the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color ones with the RPG elements, but it does have RPG elements in it, light, but still they're there.
so like, I mean, I guess sort of looking out the gate of the game, sort of there was two things they were sort of pushing hard. And one of them was the super stuff, which we'll get to, I guess, maybe later. But, like, the other one, like you were saying, is the adventure mode. Like, that was, they were like, hey, guys, there's going to be an adventure mode. There's going to be a story. Mario will walk around a map to do things, right? Like, and that was exciting. We're like, oh, baby. Like, this is, we don't get a lot of these weird things with, like, campaigns and sports games like this, where there's, like, a whole unique scenario and world to this, you know?
This is definitely a step up from all the other console versions of Mario Tennis before it too, because none of them ever had that.
But playing it, it was. I mean, I guess this was the takeaway for a lot of people on the internet, and I want to get your takes on it, if I may ask. Like, people were saying it's too short, right? It's like 4 hours or whatever. How did you guys feel about the overall length?
I feel like it was like, how much can you drag out a story for a tennis game, though? I think 4 hours is an acceptable amount, honestly.
Yeah, I
like,
agree with that.
I really
agree,
enjoyed like all the boss battles that the game is. Like, it surprised me with the like amount of, like, they were pretty similar with each other and not similar at the same time. It's like they all had to use like zone shots to like target like their weakness point and whatnot to kill them, but they all had like different things that you had to dodge, avoid. Some of them, like the mirror boss, had to you have to hit with like drain out the work with the mirrors, so like you get the ball coming out a different way, and then you have to like pinpoint your shot to get through all the obstacles when it covers itself, when you try to go for like to hit its weak point. It's like, well, it was pretty good. And you have to use your trick shots to actually dodge and avoid like projectiles. They did a pretty good job from what they had to work with.
I mean, like, I will say, because I remember when I was reading reviews and I was in college, and I think when I said this to you, where I was like, people were complaining about the difficulty of the campaign, and I was like, come on, this is a Mario Tennis campaign, how hard can it be? The game asks you genuinely to, like, become good. Like, if you beat that thing, if you beat the whole campaign, they will make sure that you have a complete understanding of the stuff they're adding in this game, right? Especially, like you said, the zone shot. Like, they did a whole lot of very interesting ways to apply, like, okay, here's how you just have to do a zone shot, period, with PD Piranha, right? Then with, like, the mirror boss, you have to learn how to do it, aim it specifically. And then later on, they have ones where you have to aim, where you have to hit quickly, right? So, like, you don't have time to react. And so it was a neat way to, like, because, I mean, we'll get, like I said, the zone shot changes so much of this game. Like, it almost removes the tennis-like element because they've added so much on top of it, you know? In a way that I actually really like and think is neat.
Oh yeah, like the new mechanics, the zone shot and the specials and like the slowdown and like everything, like all these new mechanics definitely give it like a really fresh feel. It doesn't feel like it's just like a normal tennis game. Like, this makes it feel like a new way to play tennis. You know what I mean?
It definitely did. And it's exactly what this franchise, and like Mario Tennis franchise at least, really needed it, especially after the last game. You know, you could see it was just you think too, what more can you do? But they found a way to really make, the whole game in general feel brand new again. And it really keeps each match engaging because there's a lot going on to consider when you're playing the game. It's like we said, so the new mechanics, there's the zone shots, which, you stand under. So you basically, you have a bar, right? Like a power bar that fills up when you do a couple things like charge shots and star shots,
trick shots.
So there's a power bar that fills up, once you have enough, you can do a zone shot. Which if there is a star shot, you stand underneath it, you hit R, and then all of a sudden so it's like a first person view, and you aim and you shoot exactly where you want, and it's like a full powered shot, and that's like the biggest, I feel like, mechanic in the game. But then there's trick shots, which, if the ball is way too far away from you, you can do like a side flip or a back flip or a moonwalk or however the Mario characters like to traverse the stage. They basically they do like a quick jump over to where the ball is and will hit it, and that also uses your power meter.
But if you time it, if you're just like properly positioned and you do it, it won't do that slowdown effect. You'll just normally hit it, but you'll gain a lot of super, right? So like there's the instance where, I mean, like I mentioned, because so much of tennis is like positioning the ball where your opponent isn't. And so having that be like a sort of an emergency, get the ball if I couldn't get it normally, does change the way that like you view it. But there is still a loss to being out of position because you lose your super, right? Like you lose some of your meter along the way. So you don't necessarily lose the point, but you are in a more you're at a disadvantage if you just have to keep diving for the ball over and over, which is nice. It's a good balance between, because I guess we'll get to this. There are defined character traits in this game, which like a lot of Mario games don't have at this point. Like in Mario Kart, for example, like characters carry weight, but like it's not like they handle too differently based on the parts that you use. If you're like using a lightweight character, they're going to be generally lightweight, like sort of they carry those traits. In this game, like if you're using Rosalina and she's doing tricky shots, she can spin that thing crazy. She'll just like, you're like, how are you doing this, Rosalina? Right? Like if you have Waluigi or Bowser Jr., they can reach so far across the court, it's like they're an iron wall. You just can't get past them. Like and so it is nice, I think, when you're picking a character roster, that there are clear defined like positives and negatives. And it's like, I mean, there was the meme on the internet about like Mario Tennis Aces is the biggest fighting game coming out this year from Nintendo, which was like kind of a joke at Smash. But like there is an element of fighting games to this, right? There's meter management, there's when to use a super, there's when to like have your opponent be exposed, and there's picking mains at this point, like
and you can actually break their rackets and actually end up winning by KO.
Yeah.
Yes, which is that's a whole additional thing.
Yeah, that is another thing. That adds even more strategy to it if you decide that's the way you're going to go to try to win the game. So.
Yeah, and that's a really good way, a really clever way they came up with to like fix long, like boring matches. Like because if you got like two people going up against each other, they're like really good at like positioning and like basically good defense at rallying. Like you can go for like a proper tennis match without these mechanics. They can go on for like a good 5 minutes just to score 1 point. You know what I mean? But with the KO thing, like you can end a match if you just break their racket and like make a match that would otherwise take hours to finish, end within minutes. So it's like a really good way they came up with.
It's a really cool, just like high stakes moment whenever you see that ball coming down, right? Whenever because I guess the one other way you can use meter is you can press R when the opponent is shooting it at you to slow down time, which is mostly used for zone shots and super shots because the ball's moving fast enough that like you can. I guess there are going to be people that are good enough that can do it without using any meter, but for a person like me, like slow it down. Let me see the ball come at me a little bit so I can actually hit it back. And it's fun, like in that moment, staring it down, being like, if I mess this up, like there's sort of a strategy to what you have to do in that moment. Because sometimes, if I'm ahead points wise, I'll just say I'm just gonna move out of the way, right? I'm not even gonna risk breaking my racket here and getting instantly KO'd. I'm just gonna move out of the way and let them take the point, in the moment, which is a unique sort of like risk reward. Every time that you see.
Yeah, you have to get them against the wall and then almost force them to have to start blocking zone shots or supers. And, once you start doing that, that's when you find people getting KOs. But it becomes like a tense matchup. And it also, like Noah said, there was like a level near the end of the game where I was playing and I think you're fighting Boom Boom. And I'm like, God damn it. And I'm like, he keeps blocking everything. So I was like, you know what?
That was my plan during a lot of adventure mode too.
Like, this match is going to take too long. I'm just going to KO.
Just going to go for the kill every single time. And then at the end, you fight. I mean, I guess should we mention that like there's a weird story mode. Like there's a story to the adventure mode that is strange. Because when you get to that final boss, he's like using a bunch of supers at you. He's constantly just like he's building meters super fast, and you're like, oh god! Like suddenly, I feel like how my computer opponents must have felt the entire time, where I'm just like struggling to not get KO'd. And that's where there's a lot of payoff doing the side. There is side like stuff in the adventure mode, right? There's like a clear path, but then there's side stuff where you can get additional rackets.
Yeah, some of those get real hard at the end of the game.
They do get hard.
There's one where you have to keep a rally going on the pirate ship.
With Kamek? Oh, that's the only one I'll give people that say that the game, like the single player, is difficult. That's the only level I'll give them, like, okay, that is actually very fucking hard to do.
I finished that one, though. I did it.
You
it was
managed
super
to do
hard.
it, yeah?
Yeah.
I did not have the patience for it.
I actually figured out the strat in that. I kept hitting it right in the middle, so he was like right directly behind the pole, so that way he couldn't do an angled shot that caused it to bounce off of the pole.
No, that's
he just basically kept curving it around the pole after that, and every time I would hit it back, I'd hit it straight, so it would land right in the middle of the court, so he'd have to stay right there. And that strat worked out very well. But don't ever hit it to the edges, because you'll hit it right into the pole and you'll lose the ball.
You'll just have a real rough time of it.
Yeah, it took me like a good 20-something tries. Noah was watching me. I was getting real pissed.
Because the rallies are hard because like because you're relying on the computer, right? Like at some point, because you're so used to the idea of screwing your opponent over, right? But like with that, you want to keep Kamek right in the middle. You want to give him time to be able to get to the ball and not be like knocked back. Like you have to rethink how you like are hit the ball and position yourself and how much you charge up your shots and stuff. Which is.
But you can get it past them. I've done it before.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And it keeps the rally going though.
It keeps the rally going, which is nice. But like sometimes, like you said, like he'll hit the pole or he'll like, there's just getting out of that rhythm can mess with you more than anything else.
Yeah, the ones too where you have to hit it, make sure they don't hit it back, are very good lessons in like ball placement. Yeah, and like also using lobs and drop shots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the first time because like I played other Mario Tennis games before and like I would know how to use like lob, right, and like because that's a very clear basic implementation of how this works. But like this is the first game where I learned like, oh, this is the difference between a slice and all the different options that you have, which is nice because the game is probably the most technically sound of any Mario Tennis game. Like just on the core of playing it, there's the most going on at one time. So having an understanding of the mechanics, they do a good job teaching you actually through the adventure mode.
They do. I would say that's like the best way to learn how to play the game is just play through the adventure mode, for sure. We didn't even touch upon there's multiplayer modes. There's a online tournament that you can do.
Yep.
You can just do random online matches. You can play online with friends. There's the swing mode, which lets you use the Joy-Cons as like almost like a Wii Sports type of mode, where you use the Joy-Cons to just swing them.
I mean, it's real basic. Right,
yes,
like
it's very basic.
It is Wii Sports tennis, but like maybe even slightly less responsive. Like you're not getting any of the 360 motion you like got in other motion controlled games.
Well, it does take into consideration like your at the angle which the Joy-Con is tilted, and also your motion, your swing. You have to do it properly.
Yeah, you have to do
get
a proper
it,
swing, like a backhand, or to aim where you want the ball to go.
You cannot just waggle, right? Like that's.
No, you cannot. No, it will go fucking flying in any direction it chooses.
Me and Noah played it a little bit, that mode. The only disappointing thing I have to say about that mode was that you have to do it on the same console. My vision for that, and I thought it was going to be real cool, was us, each having our Switch on the end of like a table, and then like each using a Joy-Cons, almost like we're playing ping pong against each other,
Sure.
With the switches like standing up, on the kickstand, and I think that would have been super cool and really easy to implement. I don't know why they didn't do it.
I don't know.
I think that would have been really neat.
One thing I am glad that they included was simple mode, I guess is I think the official name for it, which is just the mode where there's not this meter, right, and there's no way to recover, using the like trick shots, which is nice because I mean there's a percent of people I'm sure that are out there that are like, I don't want all this, right? I just want a tennis game where I hit a tennis ball, and if a person's out of place, I get the point.
Sure, you're very boring.
And there is that mode there for them. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but there are people that, I mean, like, it's weird. There are people that are complaining I mean, I guess I can mention this. So one of the complaints I've seen online is that there's not, like, the actual traditional format of tennis in the game where, like, it's, like, 6 sets and the person has to be up by 2 to win, right? Which is why tennis matches will go for so long. In this game, there's first to 7 and then a best of 2 out of 3 sets. Did the lack of those longer play formats ever feel like a thing that you guys wanted while we were playing, or?
No.
I mean, I'm not. See, for me though, I'm not a tennis pro. I'm not like I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I don't watch tennis. I don't follow tennis. I'm not in love with the sport. It is fun to play. You know, and it is fun to play the video games, and it's a fun thing to do in real life. But like as far as the actual sport, I don't care. Like I'm not an enthusiast. Like it doesn't bother me. None of that bothered me at all. Like to me, the matches felt like the right amount of time. None of them dragged on. I was never like, oh God, when is this gonna end? And I was also never like, oh, it's over already. You know, so it seemed like the right amount of time.
I love the sport. Like I love tennis. I play tennis. I even got like a medal in tennis years back, but yeah.
Big shot over here. Whoa.
Yeah, I was 4th, but whatever. So I think, like we don't need those really long matches. So not having like the full set, or like how long tennis games can go on, it was a plus more than anything. So.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as well. Like I think the 2 out of 3 sets is like sort of the thing. Like I think that's good. I think that's, you get one up on your opponent, and if you both go to 2, it goes to tiebreaker. So I think that like that's sort of all. I like it. I like that length. I think is the proper length to like feel like it's long enough that it doesn't feel like there are a lot of fluky wins. Like there's not just a lot of like, man, I just had a really bad streak and suddenly the game's over. But it's not so long that you're like, man, this has been like sometimes in the single player it will get long, right? And you're like, man, this isn't actually fun. Like this is not actually enjoyable at this point. And so I think that I didn't miss out too much on that stuff.
Yeah.
The looming threat, though, the big one, the one that has become the meme. Have you guys played online? Have you encountered the epidemic of Bowser Juniors? Along the way?
I've heard.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it myself. I got a lot of Toadettes and fucking Rosalinas. I don't know where Bowser Jr. started popping
I haven't really encountered that. I mean, I think I watched Alpharad play, and he was having a time. He was very upset about Bowser Jr.'s. He was on full tilt. But
I felt real bad
for Alpharad
because the very first day that the game started, I was like, well, I probably want a defensive guy early on because I like playing Waluigi in the beta, but no, this guy's Waluigi. Don't want to step on his toes. So who's the one other defensive guy? Bowser Jr. And then I picked Bowser Jr. I played him a bunch, and then 2 days later I found out, oh, if you play Bowser Jr., you're a loser. He's the loser character, and I was like, oh man, that sucks. Turns out I wasn't good at all. It's just Bowser Jr. is really good. But I think that is probably a little overblown, to be honest, right? Like, there are very good Bowser Jr. players that I've seen, but I think that it's not like he's not an unbeatable entity.
Yeah.
Right? He's not a game ruiner.
No, he isn't. It's just people.
And there's always bound to be.
There's always the character that's the most overpowered, and everybody picks him because he's cheesy, blah, blah, blah. And they always make it to be like he's unbeatable, like you said. So that's just people.
It's funny, though, because we like made jokes in the beta about like arm reach and like Toad's tiny arms, but like it turns out that's actually the thing, is that like Toad is like regarded as like one of like the hardest characters to use because he can't move for the ball at all. Like he's just got such tiny little baby arms. And and then Bowser Jr.'s over there also has baby arms, but he's just built a big robot that will have long arms for him. And I think it's just very funny. This like you can judge their tier list by their wingspan, basically. Like It's a real, but which I mean, that's actually in real tennis is the thing, right? Like having a longer reach will just help you recover.
It's true.
So I mean, maybe it's just true to life. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's too realistic for all these game players. I'm doubtful that's the answer. I think it's funny. No, Mario Tennis is the most realistic portrayal of tennis in a video game.
Right, you're right.
Sorry, Top Spin. Bad luck, Roger Federer.
Out of the way, Wii Sports.
Serena Williams.
What's
esports.
I can't even think of another tennis game. That's it. I'm out.
I cannot.
There's one that just got announced, like Tennis World Circuit. That's by the Top Spin people.
Top Spin was pretty damn good, actually.
I think that like it seems like it's a pretty low budget joint, so there's like some features missing that they're gonna add with time. But I mean, if you want, serious tennis combat, then maybe that's your place to look at. But I think Mario Tennis Aces is a fun game that uses tennis as the base to build on to make a really neat, I don't know if it's like arcadey is the word to use.
It's definitely, I would say it's definitely arcade type. Yeah, it's got a lot. It's arcade action is the way I would describe it for sure.
One quick note before we move on to placing it on the list. I just want to get the only complaint I have about this fucking game is that you can't remove the fucking option of the double X tap because whether it makes you. All right, so you can use the right analog stick to do a trick shot, but you can also do a trick shot by double tapping X and in the direction you want to do it in. Okay. And a lot of times I just happen to press the button twice because I'm used to online games where it's like, oh, did it receive my input? Better press the button one more time just to make sure it actually went in. Every time I fucking do that, I get fucked over because it does a trick shot instead, and my character goes flying in the opposite direction, even though I want to hit the ball right in front of me. Yeah. So they had the option you can remove the trick shot from the right stick, but they don't have it so you can remove the trick shot for double tapping X, and that pissed me the fuck off.
Which is real funny because it should be the opposite, right? It should
be the exact opposite. But I can, again, at the same time, I can understand how what became a thing, because if you choose to play with like Joy-Cons and like you take one of the Joy-Cons, you will be able to do the trick shot by double tapping X, but you won't be able to do a trick shot if you negate it, like take it off, because you won't have a right analog stick. Yeah. So they kind of forced to do that. So I can understand, but it still pisses me off.
I think that's one of my complaints too, was kind of a lack of options. Like, there's not that option. There could have been a little more customization. And I think, like, the people's complaints about being able to have longer matches online is justified in the case of you should be able to at least do it with friends. Like, make private rooms and be able to adjust the game mode as much as you want.
Like, you can't pick courses, right? You can't, like, pick a specific course every time you play. You just sort of get what they give you, which
there definitely should be more options to, at least with friends online, to be able to do more.
Or like when you're doing doubles, it just randomly assigns you into different teams.
Yeah,
so like
that should also be changed,
which
where
is
you can at least just always choose your teams or have it random, just however you feel. More options are always better, so this game could definitely use some. It's not.
This is what post-launch support is for, baby. Like Camelot, you can add these in.
I don't think they're very hard to implement either. And these quality of life things would go a long way in making the game even better. So, with that being said, now we're going to move on to the list, baby.
List.
And this is where it gets hard, because putting a fresh new game on the list is difficult. Because, we haven't had that time to let it really sink in. The first game we ever did here on the Game Club was Dragon Ball FighterZ. And that was when it was brand new. And, I think some of us, maybe we have regrets of, did we put Dragon Ball FighterZ too high? Because we were riding high on that wave of, wow, this game's great. And a little bit of time has passed, and now we're maybe, it's still a great game, but is it as great as we said it was? And
no.
Well, here's the catch with the list, right? Is that if in 1 week a game gets above a game that we sort of all look back and say, oh, actually, we think that game below it is better, every week after because like Dragon Ball is right below Shovel Knight, right?
Right above Shovel Knight.
Or right above Shovel Knight, I mean. And we really like Shovel Knight. So there's a bunch of games that might beat Dragon Ball but won't beat Shovel Knight. And so they just always stay below. So Dragon Ball keeps getting bumped up above all these games that we look at and say, I don't know. Maybe Animal Crossing should be above Dragon Ball, but maybe not above Shovel Knight. So what do we do here?
That's
and
that's the fun.
That's why we have the re-ranking episode.
We are going to be having that around.
Get ready.
I think when we hit 50 games on the list. I don't know if that's what we agreed on, but somewhere around that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's sort of it. Yeah, so we're
getting there.
It's a couple months
We're getting
off,
there. That's going to be fun.
We'll get there.
But I think that's half the fun of the list. Also the stress, but it's just how it is. That's the list, man. You got to rank them.
It will become a mess. It's the nature of the beast.
And it already kind of is, but it's a fun mess. It's a mess that I love.
It's also canon.
And it also is canon. So there's no arguing after it's been placed on the list.
Except for the re-ranking.
Except for there will be arguing, regardless. But that being said, man, where are we going to put this game on the list? It's tough. So I guess I'm going to ask Noah. Noah, I'm going to start with you. Where do you think Mario Tennis Aces deserves to be on the best game of all time? Where does it go on this list?
I'm looking at the area around number 16.
Okay, round number 16. So around the vicinity of like Valkyria Chronicles, Animal Crossing, Drill Dozer.
See, I would put it lower. I would put it like probably pretty marginally lower. I would put it around like Limbo Until Dawn Alundra territory.
Okay, all right. I'm leaning more towards with what Will was saying. This game is very good, but does it have that longevity to it?
Like, I think if you don't have friends to play with necessarily, there's not a whole lot there after that initial adventure mode experience, right? Like, online will be fun. You'll have a good time for a while, but there's no, like, progression to it. There's no, like... There's a very good, fun core base to Mario Tennis Aces, but there's not a lot that's built on top of that base, Like... and I think that there are games above that I look at on the list that have a very core, fun base, but also have more to do on top of it, right? And have more of an overall journey to go through with the game, where like not necessarily like a story journey, but just like a progression to it that I think that Mario Tennis Aces sort of lacks a little bit. Like I'm at the point where like I'll play it whenever someone in chat goes, "Hey, want to play tennis?" But like I probably won't do it outside of that, like a couple weeks after launch. And like I'm not mad that I bought it. I like it. I like a lot of the games that are around this territory, but I think that that's sort of where I would put it.
Yeah, I don't see me playing it outside of, hey guys, want to play tennis? Or me thinking I want to play with my friends and then, asking. But like I don't see myself just popping into some random online matches. Maybe if there was like some sort of progression system, like tiers or, like leveling up online,
I wish there were cosmetics in this game. That's a big thing.
Too.
Is they're all wearing nice outfits in the game, and you're like, oh baby, this is great. And like for doing the beta, you get to have Mario have his like classic outfit, and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna have like a cool outfit for a bunch of different characters. Nope, it's just Mario. Yeah. Like he's the only one that got anything like that.
I think I would put it at number 23.
23? Below Until Dawn, but above Alundra?
I don't know. I like Alundra a lot, too. Fuck.
Yeah.
If we're going to put it that low, I would put it below Alundra.
Okay.
What about Nier?
All right, because
I really like
played
the first.
The further away from Alundra I get, the further away I get from Alundra, the more I like Alundra. Just like more and more. Like I just really appreciate what that game is. And then I would put it. I mean, like Nier has a flawed core base. Like is sort of the difference between it. So I would put it probably above Nier Replicant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nier Replicant. Is that what it's called?
So. There's Nier. Well, there's two different ones.
There's two versions.
And one of them, they change how the main character from being like an older guy to a younger guy.
One's a brother, one's a dad.
Okay.
pretty much.
I have Nier, but I don't have Nier Replicant. It's weird.
They changed it for Japan and the West. They made the older guys for the West, the younger guys for Japan.
Okay.
No, I got the older. Oh, I was in Europe.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Okay, so 20 feeling.
24 for Mario Tennis Aces.
I'm cool with
I
that.
think I'm cool with that.
All right, wow.
All right.
So, we got it. It's on the list. So I'll go over what it's around. Number 22 is we got Until Dawn. Number 23 we got Alundra, which was a Game Club game, an early on one. One that Noah picked, and we'll segue into that in a second. We also got number 24 is Mario Tennis Aces itself. Number 25 is Nier Replicant. Number 26, also a Game Club game, Shadow of Memories, and also picked by Noah himself. And with that segue, Noah, you're picking another game. It's your turn again.
Yeah, I am. Right, so we're gonna go for a game for the
Just like these
PlayStation
PS1
One
games.
again, and it's gonna be a puzzle themed game.
Oh.
It's called in Europe I had it under the name Karushi, but I think its proper name is actually called Intelligent Cube with a Q.
Intelligent Cube with
So-
a cube.
Like Qube.
Oh,
Q.
baby. Oh!
Like spelled with a Q.
I see this game. There was a Flash game that was a lot like this back in the day that I used to play at school. Or at least it looks the cube with the little glowing.
Yeah, it's known as
one on the end.
IQ, Intelligent Cube. Yes.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
This looks like a weird one. I like this.
All right, cool. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why I
that's
picked
what
it.
we're gonna be playing. 2 weeks from now, I guess we'll come back and talk about it. So we're gonna be playing IQ Intelligent Cube for the PS1. Look forward to that. Thank you guys for joining me here for another episode of the Game Club. It was a lot of fun playing Mario Tennis, and you know, I'm sure we'll be playing a little bit more of Mario Tennis in the future online. It's a great time. It's not amazing, but it's a great time, and I recommend Mario Tennis if you want to go pick it up and you have a bunch of friends to play it with, because it is very fun.
Yeah.
And with that being said, don't forget to go out there and support us by liking, sharing, commenting. Tell us how you enjoyed the episode and all the rest of our episodes. And follow us on social media. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. You always get updates and when the episodes are going up. And also when we go live on Twitch, we have a Twitch channel. We try to stream on there as much as possible. And life gets in the way sometimes, but we'll still be there. Tell us when, what games you want us to play. Sometimes we'll be playing, whatever we want. But if you guys ever have any requests on what you want us to play, you let us know, and we'll try to do that. We might even be playing the Game Club games on there. So, you get to experience our thought process on these games as they're happening in real time sometimes. So that's a lot of fun. So I'd like to thank Will, and I'd also like to thank Noah. Thank you guys for joining me today. That was a lot of fun, and I thank you. You don't have to.
Always
a pleasure.
but I appreciate it. And we will see you guys in a couple more weeks for IQ Intelligent Cube. Take care of yourselves, play some video games, and tell people that you care about that they're important to you.